After my friend and I separated, I began to live with my relatives, and she managed to rent a room for very little money. And so she invited me to her housewarming party. The apartment was 2-room. A lonely woman of about 35 lived in the second room. She worked somewhere on the night shift. She went to work in the evening and came back in the morning. They almost never crossed paths with Leska. My friend's room was small and very dark. The apartment was located in one of the panel buildings that was soon to be demolished. A large high-rise building was built nearby, the blank red-brown wall of which became the unchanging landscape of Leska's window. In addition, the apartment was damp. The air is very heavy. Second floor, but it feels like a basement. But my friend was quite happy with such temporary housing. She especially liked the old master's bed with a wrought iron headboard, on which was the head of a real devil with long horns and a nasty face. But Leska was absolutely delighted by this decoration and the general gloomy atmosphere. I paid special attention to the bed. It's immediately obvious that it's old. In addition, it turned out that she had a very soft mattress and feather bed. The owner's furniture included only 2 bedside tables and an oak wardrobe, which obscured the walled-up door to the next room. 2 weeks later, my friend began to complain that she was sleeping very poorly, but did not clarify anything. I advised her to take a sedative and not stress herself out over trifles. A week later, when we met, it was scary to look at her. Pale as death, bruises under her eyes from constant lack of sleep. Now I began to ask more thoroughly. A friend told me that she began to have prophetic dreams from the very first night in her new room. Something small. I passed the test, the heel fell off, I forgot my friend's phone. After some time, she began to dream that she was waking up in the middle of the night and felt that there was someone nearby. Then a sound was added to this, as if someone was chewing very disgustingly. In her dream, she tried to look at her guest, but saw only some vague silhouette next to the closet. But the most disgusting thing was the smell of raw meat, which, as Leska said, permeated the whole room. I decided that my friend was playing me, but she looked very bad. She advised her to talk to her neighbor. Maybe she also felt something, to go to church. My words did not reassure Leska, and she invited me to spend the night with her. But since I was busy, I was able to visit her only a couple of days later. I arrived to see her early in the morning. Leska opened the door for me and immediately ran to the toilet. She was throwing up. In response to my harmless joke about pregnancy, she simply became furious. "Don't you feel anything? It stinks." I went to her room and literally began to sniff all the corners. It did smell like something similar to fresh raw meat. The smell is quite specific, but not so strong. We searched all the corners, checked the ventilation, the landing, the window. It was not clear where the smell was coming from. Moreover, it dissipated very quickly. According to Leska, the smell is especially strong at night and early in the morning. Options with a slaughterhouse under the window and cannibal neighbors were shallow immediately. A friend believed that a ghost from our previous apartment had clung to her, but it immediately seemed to me that it had something to do with the bed. Leska once mentioned that she didn't dream of anything when she slept on the floor to escape the heat. They brought a church candle. It crackled loudly and smoked black smoke. Next to the bed, the candle spitted black flakes of soot. When we were walking around the apartment with a candle, a calendar with an icon that a neighbor had hung fell off in the kitchen. Everything had an extremely negative effect on my friend. She firmly decided to go to some grandmother to unhook the attached evil spirits. I calmed her down as best I could, offered to move in with relatives, and for now just go to church and stay with me for a few days. Leska moved after all. The landlady refused to return the money for 2 months, which the friend had paid in advance, only if she found another tenant. Leska found some friend, moved her into her wonderful room, and ran away to her relatives. That would have been the end of it all. My friend was now sleeping completely normally. No one was following her. But a couple of months later, we accidentally met in a cafe with the woman to whom Leska had shared her room. She turned out to be Ukrainian, already a mature woman of about 45. She also looked very exhausted. Leska asked her more as a joke than out of curiosity why she was so tired, to which the woman replied, "Oh girls, I don't sleep well. I dream about all sorts of devilish things." Leska and I were stunned. "What are you dreaming about?" I asked. The woman winced. "Yes, it's such nonsense and I'm ashamed to talk about it. I'm dreaming about some kind of grandmother. She's standing by the closet and chewing something. I looked, and it's meat. She's standing straight up and eating raw meat. I'm gonna move out, girls. There's something that's not good." Leska and I were speechless. And what was that? We wondered for a long time. Maybe it was a ghost, or Leska's neighbor turned out to be a witch, or the bed was cursed. Maybe someone was killed there. There are many questions, but again, there are no answers.